Alright, so check it out. Today's video is going to be just a little bit different for the most part. Now, I've been collecting Arcade1up since the beginning. This is one of the first ones that I was really dying trying to get. This is the first gen Arcade1up. I've already done multiple upgrades to this one so far. We've done the LED strip, we've done the San Juan controllers, we've done the button upgrade, we've gotten the LED upgrade for the marquee, and we've got the sound upgrade to fix the mono sound back up to the stereo sound. So now I actually have 3 of these units currently. So now that I have 3 of these units, I've been getting slightly disappointed on how Arcade1up keeps coming out with the same machines over and over and over again, just giving you one little game or maybe 3 more games, but still charging you a whole nother $500 for something that you already purchased, instead of giving you the option to update or add more to the actual system since you've already purchased it. Now, someone just did tell me that you can't upgrade or update outrun getting another game to it, but I've had multiple Pac-Mans now, I've had multiple Street Fighter units now, and now they've released a big blue unit, which if I want to have online for any of my games that I currently have, I gotta buy another console. So now I'm going to be back down another $600 just to get one feature to have all the games that I currently already have on another Street Fighter unit. So that's been kind of disappointing me lately. So today in this video, I'm getting ready to show you, if you got an Arcade1up at your house, don't get rid of it. There's still a lot of things that you can actually do with your unit, and this is getting ready to be one of them right now. So again, don't get rid of them. Keep it, upgrade it, just do some custom things to it. They're not really hard at all. They're very simple. Any beginner can do it. So what we're getting ready to do today is we're getting ready to actually take out the Street Fighter motherboard in this. And then we're going to take out these controls, and we're going to switch everything over to a Pandora's box. So we're going to change up our full arcade unit to a Pandora's box, which gives us still the full arcade style. We're still going to have our buttons where we want them to, and later on, if you want to, you can even upgrade your screen, giving you a bigger 20-inch screen for your arcade. But for right now, what I'm getting ready to show you is how you can easily just swap this out, put a Pandora's box in, and add more games and more options and features to your Arcade1up.
Previously on Ready to Die.
Alright, so now we're back over here at the unit. I got it sitting over here in this corner because I'm running out of place to put these machines at. So you just heard that right there. And again, like I was saying, your speaker is right here. So instead of having the 2 speakers on the top, or even having 2 speakers down here, you only have 1 speaker. Now when you have the first gen of these units right here, there was one small problem with that, and that was the fact that you would only get mono sound. Meaning that if you was on one side of the screen, you wouldn't hear those moves or certain things that was going on because there was only 1 speaker designed also for one side of the screen. Now they did fix that as they continued to make more units as they went along, but this is still hands down one of my favorite units, despite any one of those flaws that people might try to say that it had. So hopefully if you've seen this video already, you've put together an Arcade1up before, and you know that they're pretty much very easy, basic and simple. They don't take long. This process is going to be even easier because you're not taking down the whole unit. So I'm not going to walk you through the whole steps on everything individually. So I'm just going to pull these LED strips right here back. You won't have to do that unless you've put them on. And you're going to have these 4 screws right here on each side. You're going to unscrew those and take those out. I've already unscrewed mine, so like I said, I'm not going to show all that on camera. And then once you've taken those out, the next thing you're going to do is just lift this board and pop it out. Now, of course, once you have those screws out, you want to make sure everything's turned off. Slightly pull her up, pull her back out, and just pull out your IDE plug from the back of your machine. And we're going to take this and we're going to move it over here to the side. This is pretty much, for the first part, all you're going to be working with. So when you get this all taken off, next thing you want to do is go on ahead and remove your back sticks. After you got your back sticks off, go ahead and grab this plate, take this and put it to the side. Go over, flip this upside down, and then now we're gonna go to these buttons right here, grab the clips and just push them through. Grab the clip, push it through, clip, push them through, and we're going to do that all the way around. Take your buttons out. And now that we actually have all the buttons pushed out, what we're going to do next is unscrew our encoder, and we're going to take out our control. Just something I want to point out, that when you take your screws from out of your controllers, your joysticks, make sure that you keep those specific screws if possible. And the reason why I say that is because whenever you want to put in a new joystick, it'll work better for you and your Arcade1up if you could replace those joysticks with the same screws that you took out of it. Therefore, you're not going to strip any holes or have to maybe even make any more new holes. So again, like I said, if possible, keep all screws when taking out your Arcade1up. Now that we got all that done, what we're going to do is we're going to take and disconnect everything from the encoder minus my controls. I'm not disconnecting the controls from the encoder yet, and the reason why is I've always had problems with my encoders on my joysticks. And again, that's because I'm a beginner at this. This is why I'm showing this to y'all, because pretty much any of y'all can do the same thing. So I'm not going to disconnect my joysticks because I've always had issues with maybe even connecting them backwards and not exactly the way they're supposed to be. So I am going to actually restore this Street Fighter into another system later on, and we'll save that for another video. But right now we're going to disconnect all of these wires up here except for the joystick. Pretty much I got everything disconnected now except for the actual controls. So come over here to the other side. Just gonna pop out our joysticks now at this point. Pop the joysticks out and then you start taking your buttons through one by one. Be gentle. And there you go. Now you got your board on and off switch, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to use this volume switch, but we're going to find another purpose for it. So here we go. So this right here is a Pandora box 11. I have so much arcade stuff laying around and more stuff keeps coming out. I don't know what to do with it. So we're going to take this Pandora's box 11, got the insides of this, and we're going to replace it with those insides right there that we just took from outside the Arcade1up. So I'm gonna need you to check out my video on this if you want to see more about the insides and breakdowns and everything that goes on with this. But there's going to be 3 screws on the back. I went through that on my other video. These 3 screws. Take those off and you'll be able to open these and have access to the inside of your Pandora's box. Once you got those out, open it up. And way back there in the back, there's going to be 2 more screws on each side, and that's how you can take this whole board off. So I'm going to go in there now. I'm going to have to use a small screw to get to it because of the angle that they're at. I'm going to go ahead and pop those off. Then once you get all those screws taken off, you'll be able to move this around and you'll be able to have better access to everything that you need to do next. So I'm gonna flip this around, bring it over here, and I'm gonna set this up for just a second. So next, we're just getting ready to take everything from this board right here and place it into this board right here. Therefore, it's going to be pretty much swap and into swap. And then we'll get to the boards later. But I'm just getting ready. I'm not going to walk you through each piece, but we're getting ready to just come over here to where this controller is. Take it out. To help give you an example of what's getting ready to go on. I know I probably got my arm all in the camera. Everything out like that, one by one. I forgot to unscrew the ball top. So what you might notice that I'm doing right now, we got all the buttons in. I had to add one button where the volume button was. All I had to do pretty much for that was just take this bracket out from the back. I'm drilling in a second hole because we actually are going to need 2 buttonholes, one for our coin inserts for player 1 and player 2. So we got player 1 start, player 2 start. Now we need a coin insert for player 1. Now we're going to put one in for player 2. Pretty simple, just like that. She's not fully perfect right now, but we're getting ready to put the button in, and we're not worried about exactly how the circle is looking because the ring for around this should cover most of it as long as we didn't do too much damage to it. I will say there was one spot where the drill jumped on me. Should hurt my feelings a little bit, and that was right here by the forward button, and I scratched up the top of the board just a little bit, but we'll touch that up or something. So now that we got the hole drilled out, see how she looks a little bit not sounding perfect right now, but we're going to take our button, locked her in, and there we go. So now we got 1 player start, 2 player start, 1 player coin, 2 player coin. So there we go. Everything's wired up. All buttons are in, joysticks in, and this is going to be a harness that's going to go into our actual Pandora's box right here. So as you see, the wiring's not that bad down there, and that's pretty much everything. This is our speaker, because we're still going to plug our original speaker up to our Pandora's box to keep some original sound. And we're going to plug this up to our Pandora's box to keep our on and off switch. So now I'm back over here in the corner of the couch because I got no space. I'm working around with what I got. This is the original case that came from off the bottom of our Arcade1up. This right here is getting ready to be the whole motherboard from our Pandora's box. All we're getting ready to do now is we're going to unbolt this, and we're going to take that and bolt it on to this right here. And we're going to replace the plugs with our speaker wires on this with the one that's actually going to be on our board to our controller. And we'll show you that when it's actually done. It's just that simple. She's out. We're going to disconnect this. This is going to be your power and your on and off switch and everything right there. This is getting ready to be your speaker. I'm going to take everything from here and put it into the other box. Alright, so now that we got all that done, we got everything in wired, we got all of our controllers in, speakers in and everything's connected to the board. The next thing we're going to do now is just mount the actual board to the bottom of this case. We're just going to use 2 screws. We're not going to put them in all 4. We're just going to counter corner the screws. And that should be pretty much all we need to just keep this in place right here. You also want to make sure that any screw that you use is going to damage your board, and you don't want to put any screw that's going to touch any resistor. If you can look at them close right here, you don't want to put any screw that's going to actually be touching any of that along with the board if possible. So that might cause damage to your board or anything that could be on the other side. So just make sure you're using the right size screw anytime you're going to mount your Pandora's box to the bottom of this case. So the next thing is, you don't have to do this, but I decided to do it because I wanted to have easier access to it without having to open this back up in the future. So I decided to take this part right here and notch it out so I can actually just get my hands in there to touch the menu button, volume button, and run my USB cables out, and also run the HDMI cable out along with the power cable without having to bend anything up, down, and through that connection. So we got that mounted down through there. The next thing we're going to do is just wire the cables to the back. So we're going to go over here, plug our power cable up. Now, take this cable, plug her back in. Trying to do this gentle. I'm recording and trying to hold things. And what we are also going to do later on is, since we have this spot right here, I was thinking about adding another speaker, but that's a possibility for another day. So now that we have all of this in, we're going to come back down now, flip her over, and screw it together. So I try my best. But we're going to screw those last 2 in. I already got them all the way around, as you see. There we go. All the screws back in through the bottom. Wires coming out through the back. So now at this point, this is what we got. We got our 1-up stick, which is now officially our Pandora's arcade box. And then we have the Arcade1up right there. So we threw it through the HDMI cable down there. What we're going to do next is just going ahead and drop the cords down there through the bottom. And then after we do that, go ahead and plug everything up, and we're going to see how she's running. So now that we're in the back of the Arcade1up, the next thing we're getting ready to do is pop off 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Oh, let's already took this one off. Once you got those screws taken out, go ahead and make sure you unplug it and then remove the back panel. So once you have everything out, this is going to be the back of the LCD monitor, the back of your Arcade1up screen. And if you ever need to know which model number it is that you have, you're going to notice it right there. That's going to be the model number to the actual screen that you currently have inside of your Arcade1up. You'll notice that these are 17-inch monitors right here. If you want, you can upgrade this all the way up to, I believe, is it a 21-inch monitor, 20-inch monitor? One of those two. But either or, you can upgrade your monitor also, and this is also going to be how you can do that if that's what you want to do. But the next thing that we're getting ready to do is make sure that this is unplugged. You already know it's unplugged from the unit. We're going to take this off, and this is your actual console, believe it or not, for your Arcade1up. The other thing that's under your board is just your controls. This is getting ready to be an IDE cable, and your IDE cable is going to plug up into your controls and into your actual console, which is located right here. And actually, another thing we're going to do real quick right before we drop the control deck in is I'm going to throw in this Logitech subwoofer surround sound for PCs, just to give her a little bit more kick and sound with some of the games that we play. So we're going to go ahead and drop her in there, see how good she sounds. She even has this little cool control knob, so we can put this on the outside of the machine so we can actually turn the stereo on and off and select the value with the surround unit. So now that we're back in the front of the unit, we already got the HDMI cable going down there through the back. We're going to take this right here, we're going to drop that into there and plug that up. Got the plug sitting on the bottom. You're going to take your control stick now and drop it back down into your system. And before we go on ahead and screw the boards back down, we're going to turn everything on, check everything out, make sure everything is and working the way it should be. So now that we finally got everything hooked up and ready, we're going to turn her on, cross our fingers, see if she works. There we go. It's going to cycle through whichever mode that we have it set on, so we could try and go ahead and locate the best resolution possible. Went on ahead and stopped at 1280 by 720. This is a 1080p TV, but that's where it stopped at. And there you go. So now your Arcade1up is getting ready to consist of, I think on this board I have 3,000 games. So we're just going to back up a little bit just to give you a further out view of what you're going to be looking at now. So this would normally be a JAMA style arcade, and we've just converted the Arcade1up into an official Pandora's box arcade, and now we have approximately 3,000 games inside of this unit. So we're going to circulate through a couple of games, see how it plays, and we're going to go from there. So being that we're at the first game right here, just so I can actually see exactly how many games we have on here, I'm just going to go up to the last game. And so particularly on this exact unit, we're going to have 2,706 games currently. That's the current amount of games that's on here. And it's going to end off with our 3D games, or the 3D games that this particular unit has. We can upgrade them. We can add more games later on down the line if that's something that we want to do. You can even add games by USB stick. So Starfighter is one of their 3D games. I can't even pronounce half of these. So we got Gear Fighter, Capcom vs SNK, Mortal Kombat 4, 3, 2, Mortal Kombat. These are supposed to be the somewhat 3D games. Now I'm going to show you another Pandora's box in a little bit. Check out my other videos. It's going to be an upgraded version of this. So this is currently the Pandora 11. I'm getting ready to show you the Pandora 18 Plus on my next one. But real quick, let's just go ahead and select a game from this. Let's see exactly what we want to try out. If I push this button, that takes me to my favorites, my personals. I'm going to try this one right here and see how she works. Push one button. Everything loads up pretty fast within seconds. So you saw how fast that one loaded up. Our coin button is up here. That's going to add our coins into the machine. We got 1 player start over here, then we got 2 player start. So because we did install that surround sound system in the unit, so it's going to give you a lot more better sound than what you currently had with just that one speaker. I'm going to let it go on ahead and select Ryu for me because that's what I'm going to use anyway. And I'm going to turn this up a little bit more and I'm going to shut up for about 2 minutes. So my skills are getting a little weak. They're getting a little bit down right there for the most part. But to exit the game, all you gotta do is just push and hold down your coin button, go down to exit, select exit, and then you're back down to your main screen. And like I said, everything on this operates a whole lot faster, even actually faster than the Arcade1ups operate. So we're just gonna go ahead and try another game out for the most part. See if I find something I really want to see. Let's go another older game, Final Fight 2. And again, you'll see that everything loads up in seconds, not long at all. And majority of the games are going to be completely arcade perfect. There's going to be very few where you might have to go in and actually switch the language back over to English. But other than that, everything's going to maintain arcade perfect. So this one right here is still going to give you the option menu, because I believe this one's going to be the version that was actually licensed by Nintendo. So we're not going to go into option menu right now. We're actually getting ready to go in ahead and try one player mode real quick. Again, this is Final Fight 2, and I believe this is a Super Nintendo version. Okay, so now that we're at the end of the video, this is a complete version of the Arcade1up, transferred now into a Pandora's box. So inside this unit now we have 2,706 games to be exact. We didn't have to cut anything out. We didn't have to take any crazy modifications to it. All it was just some unscrewing, screwing, and plugging back up. So at the end of the day, if you're lucky enough to find any Arcade1up machine that you want, just go on ahead and get your hands on it. Because what you can actually do to it or turn into at the end of the day, something crazy if you're a multimedia guy. You can turn it into a desktop, you can turn it into a computer, you can turn it into a streaming system. It's great to have inside of a dorm room, but what you can actually do with one of these is far beyond what the average person thinks what you can do with it with just the 3 games that they come standard with the machine. So that's the end of this one right here. Go ahead and check out my other video on my Big Blue. We're going to be finishing that one up. A couple more things that we got to do to it, and there you go. It's the Pandora's box 11S into the Arcade1up.